There are sentences that don't just describe your life, they direct it. Not ordinary phrases, but spiritually charged declarations. Words that, when spoken daily, begin to move unseen forces, shift internal patterns, and align you with something far beyond logic. One of those sentences exists, and it doesn't ask for blessings, it awakens them. Joseph Murphy taught that the subconscious mind is always listening, always responding, and always creating. But it doesn't respond to vague desires. It responds to repeated impressions, especially when infused with emotion and faith. A single phrase, said with conviction every day, becomes more than habit. It becomes instruction. And that instruction begins to shape your reality. This is not magic. It's not superstition. It's law, spiritual and mental. The words you speak carry vibration. And vibration is not symbolic. It's literal. Everything in your world responds to frequency. And when your voice releases a frequency of divine truth, the world around you bends to meet it. It must. Because law does not ask permission, it simply performs. Most people go through their day reacting to life, but those who understand this principle begin their day creating it. They speak before they see. They declare before there's evidence. And in doing so, they don't just prepare for blessing, they summon it. Not from a place of lack, but from a place of spiritual certainty. So what is this sentence? It's not complicated, but it is sacred. And once it's spoken with belief and repeated with consistency, it begins to unlock a new rhythm in your life, a rhythm of favor, clarity, provision, and peace. And the most mysterious part? You won't know how it's working. You'll just know that it is. Every time you speak, you're not just expressing, you're creating. Words are not neutral. They're containers of intention, carriers of belief, transmitters of energy. And when those words are repeated daily with clarity and emotion, they don't float, they form. They begin to build a new structure within your life, brick by invisible brick. If something within you is waking up to this truth, consider subscribing so you don't lose this alignment. Joseph Murphy understood that your subconscious mind is impressionable, not by occasional thoughts, but by repeated declarations, especially those charged with emotion. When you speak something long enough, with feeling and conviction, your subconscious accepts it as fact. And once accepted, it sets in motion a series of events that shape your outer world to reflect it. Most people speak from what they see, but the spiritually awakened speak from what they know. They understand that reality responds to inner instruction, not outer evidence. So they speak not because the blessing has arrived, but because the blessing has already been released. Their words are not requests, they are signals, they are frequencies. Every declaration you make is either reinforcing limitation or unlocking potential. It's either building resistance or opening flow. That's why careless words carry weight, and why intentional words carry power. Your life will always drift toward the direction of your dominant speech, because your speech reflects your internal compass. So yes, what you say matters, not because it sounds spiritual, but because it vibrates. And vibration, when consistent, moves mountains. Not metaphorically, literally. Because in a universe ruled by spiritual law, words are never just sounds. They are seeds. And what you say today determines what grows tomorrow. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are, what you vibrate. The universe, as Joseph Murphy often explained, doesn't respond to begging or effort. It responds to frequency. And every word you speak carries a frequency, especially when spoken with faith, emotion, and consistency. This is the essence of the law of vibration. Before anything material exists, it exists as energy, and that energy is shaped by your dominant vibration. Faith, when spoken, is not merely hope, it is frequency alignment. It places your inner world on the same wavelength as the reality you desire. And when that alignment is sustained, matter begins to shift. Words that come from fear, anxiety, or doubt emit distortion. They tell your subconscious, "We are not ready, we are not aligned," and so results delay. But words spoken in spiritual authority, with peace and assurance, send a different signal. They say, "I am already connected to this. I am ready." And the unseen begins to move. You may not see the change at first, but the vibration is working. It's penetrating the invisible field around you, calling into form what matches its frequency. This isn't just philosophy, it's design. Spiritual law was never meant to be mystical. It was meant to be applied. And the spoken word is your most immediate tool of application. So when you speak daily declarations, you're not repeating empty affirmations. You're adjusting your vibration. You're sending clear, repeated signals into a responsive universe. And every time your frequency matches the blessing you're declaring, it starts making its way toward you, quietly, steadily, and often, suddenly. Repetition is not routine, it's reinforcement. Spiritually, when you repeat something every day, you're not just memorizing, you're programming. You're carving new grooves into the subconscious. And as Joseph Murphy taught, once the subconscious accepts an idea, it begins to express it automatically, without resistance. This is why spiritual repetition is sacred. It's not for God, it's for you. It doesn't convince heaven, it convinces your inner world. Every time you say the right words, with intention and feeling, you strengthen a vibrational pathway. You're not asking for a blessing, you're walking the path toward it, one declaration at a time. Daily repetition builds spiritual momentum. It recalibrates your energy, clears inner noise, and silences the old programming of fear and lack. Each spoken word becomes a hammer, breaking down the walls of resistance you didn't even know you built. And over time, those invisible walls become invisible gates. There's a moment when the repetition no longer feels like an act. It feels like truth. You no longer say the words to believe them. You say them because you already do. And when that shift happens, acceleration follows. The gates open. The energy flows. What was once delayed begins to approach with ease. This is not about force. It's about frequency. Repetition is how you stabilize that frequency, how you hold it steady long enough for reality to reflect it. And when you hold it, daily, faithfully, patiently, the spiritual realm begins to move around you. Doors open, people shift, answers find you, and the unseen becomes visible. The subconscious mind is not just a psychological tool, it is a sacred receiver. Joseph Murphy taught that it is the bridge between spirit and form, the silent engine that turns belief into reality. What you impress upon it, especially through words and repetition, becomes your experience. Not by magic, but by law. This mind doesn't argue. It doesn't filter truth from falsehood. It accepts what is repeated with emotion, regardless of whether it's wanted or not. This is why most people suffer, because their subconscious has been programmed by fear, doubt, and the echoes of negative words spoken without awareness. But once you realize this, you gain control. Spoken declarations are the tools of reprogramming. When you speak daily affirmations aligned with divine truth, you're not just being positive, you're planting. You're laying down new tracks in the unseen, and over time, your subconscious begins to run on a new script. It stops reproducing the past and starts creating what you declare. The beauty of this process is its neutrality. Your subconscious isn't emotional, it's responsive. It obeys. It listens constantly, especially when you speak with conviction. This means you're never truly stuck. You're just running old code, and code can be rewritten. Your words are the access point, and repetition is the key. So the daily sentence you speak isn't just a spiritual exercise. It's a divine command to the part of you that holds power to create. You are instructing your inner self to expect blessing, to receive peace, to align with abundance. And the moment your subconscious accepts that instruction as normal, your life begins to shift to match it, quietly, deeply, and without delay. Words alone are not enough. It is the feeling behind the words that activates their power. You can speak the most perfect phrase, crafted with divine truth. But if it's empty of emotion, it's empty of vibration. Joseph Murphy emphasized this over and over. Feeling is the secret. What you feel, you energize, and what you energize, you manifest. This is where most people miss the shift. They speak affirmations out of habit, but their emotional state contradicts their words. They say, "I receive abundance," but feel fear. They declare peace, but vibrate anxiety. And the subconscious, always loyal, responds not just to what is said, but to how it's said. What energy rides beneath the sound. When your words are aligned with strong feeling, calm confidence, expectancy, inner joy, they carry a frequency that penetrates the subconscious deeply. That's when transformation begins. You're no longer just saying something, you're becoming it. And in that becoming, the external world begins to follow your lead. You don't need loud emotion. You need pure emotion, quiet certainty, a deep sense of yes beneath the surface. That's what fuels the words and makes them alive. When you feel it, even softly, the vibration becomes stable. And when that vibration is sustained, it begins to gather evidence in your life. Evidence that your inner shift is already shaping your outer path. So as you speak the daily sentence, let it rise from a place of agreement, not desperation. Don't just repeat it, feel it. Let the words echo through your chest, not just your lips. Let them settle into your nervous system, not just your memory. Because when your words and your energy say the same thing, nothing can stop the blessing from reaching you. You were never meant to beg for what's already been given. In the spiritual realm, you are not a stranger. You are a co-creator. Joseph Murphy taught that the divine presence lives within, and that the subconscious, when aligned with this truth, acts not as a servant of fear, but as an agent of creative power. Your words, then, are not requests, they are releases. The moment you shift from begging to declaring, your energy transforms. You no longer approach the divine as someone waiting to be chosen. You approach as someone who already agrees with the blessing. And agreement is the gate. It signals to your inner world that there's no separation, no distance, no delay, only expression. When you speak from this place, your tone changes. Your posture shifts. You're no longer reaching, you're receiving. You're not pleading for mercy. You're activating promise. This isn't arrogance, it's spiritual maturity. It's understanding that divine blessings are not earned by performance. They're unlocked by agreement. And this is what makes the daily declaration so powerful. You're not just saying words, you're stepping into a role. You're embodying the truth that God has already given you access to peace, provision, and purpose. Your words no longer come from lack. They come from union. They come from a place where heaven and earth are no longer divided. So speak as one who knows. Speak as one who is already in possession. Let your vibration carry the weight of spiritual partnership. Because when you speak from oneness, not from separation, your world begins to reflect that unity. And what once felt unreachable becomes inevitable. There is a moment in every spiritual journey when repetition becomes revelation. You're no longer just speaking, you're shifting. The words move from the surface to the center. They stop being something you say and become something you live. That's when transformation accelerates. That's when the path appears beneath your feet, formed by the very words you declared. Joseph Murphy understood this clearly. He didn't ask people to repeat words just to feel hopeful. He asked them to repeat words because repetition imprints truth, and truth transforms reality. But not just any words. Words charged with divine energy. Words that align your subconscious with the spiritual reality already prepared for you. And here is one of those declarations. One that, if spoken every day with calm certainty and heartfelt agreement, begins to open invisible doors and reposition your life. Divine love now dissolves everything that is not aligned with peace, abundance, and perfect health in my life. I am open, I am ready, I receive. This sentence is not a request, it's a release. It tells your inner world that you're done with resistance, that you no longer identify with lack, fear, or delay. It shifts your vibration instantly, and with daily repetition, it builds momentum. The subconscious begins to believe. The atmosphere begins to respond. The alignment becomes natural. Say it slowly. Say it with breath. Say it with awareness. Don't try to force results. Let the vibration do the work. Your job is not to push. Your job is to speak, feel, and remain open. And in that openness, you'll find movement. Subtle at first. Then, suddenly, your words are not just sounds. They are seeds. And this declaration is a seed of change. Planted daily, with faith and feeling, it becomes a new path beneath your feet. One that leads not back to what was, but forward into everything that was waiting for you all along.